Hello, and welcome to another episode of TacoBytes, your Daily Bite of Degen, episode number 442. Coming to you live from Twitter Spaces, YouTube, LinkedIn, Telegram, Twitch, Rumble, and Unlonely and Telegram. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And today, we are going to be doing a little bit of Clopper run-through, but we also have in the house, E-Rich. I think E-Rich has come up as a speaker. E-Rich, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you? And I have I came up because I have a specific question, but congrats on 442 days. Like, that's commitment. That's his commitment.
Yeah.
And consistency, which I feel like the space lacks a lot of. So
yeah. How are you doing?
Glad to see it. I'm doing good. I have a question because I saw that you're streaming live on the whatever they're calling that. And I'm curious how you're able to do a space, stream live, and then all those other services at the same time. It's really impressive.
Thank you. That most of it is done via StreamYard. So huge shout out to the StreamYard team.
Should I say that's the alpha then?
That's the alpha. I worked with the StreamYard team. They helped me break through Twitter before they were doing, because I've been doing Twitter video for almost a year now. And they showed me how to break into the back end of Twitter for my API there, and now they've made it on the creator dashboard as well in Twitter. But basically, I was streaming into Twitter video, one source, one stream, and then it split out into all of those other streams live.
That's great. Well, I mean, the other thing I was going to say is that, the problem with trying to watch the live, because, it's at the top of, you may not know this, but it's at the top of the feed, next, it's before all the other spaces.
Yeah.
The pink thing. And for people listening, it's not only the pink thing is the spaces scroll, are at the top of your news feed and the For You, not the For You, the For You feed. And it's purple for spaces, but it's pink for the lives. And the problem right now with the lives is that if you join them, you can't listen to it if you leave, if you change apps, and you can't minimize it, so you can't scroll Twitter. So if you want to actually be listening to it, you have to be watching it, or at least have your screen on it, and listening in the background. But you can't do anything else with your phone at that time if you want to stay present in that moment. So hopefully they work on that, because it's not ideal.
Yeah, I think the idea mostly before that is for the aspect of bringing live experiences to you, rather than YouTube music.
For me,
yeah,
2 or 3 times I've joined them, I have the attention span of a gnat, because I've been on Twitter for so long that you get the attention span of a gnat. And so it's not enough, and so I want to see what's happening in the Twitter over here. Just like here, you minimize the space and you scroll other things and you go to DMs. You can't do that. So Elon, if you're listening, because you have to be, please fix that. Thanks in advance.
Yeah. I find that I get more responses from Elon if I tag Shirley Lowe.
Oh my gosh. Oh, callbacks.
Yeah. So no, man, but it's been sort of cool to be able to do that before they recognized it, because when I first started doing it, it didn't show up as the pink thing at all. It just showed up as live video in my Twitter feed.
That's new, yeah. And I mean, you could go to the search feature and see what live things were available, I think, but you'd have to kind of know, I guess. I don't know.
It reminds me of the early days of YouTube music, or YouTube. Remember how you couldn't turn off the screen? You had to let it play to listen to it?
No, because I didn't use YouTube a lot until I still don't actually. I don't understand YouTube. That's not true. I do understand it. I just don't understand why everyone loves it so much. Oh, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably why I didn't use it very much.
No. Yeah. So, while I have you up, how have you been? How's your project going?
It's going pretty good. I had to kind of step back a little bit for some personal reasons, but stepping back in. And I've got some updates that'll be coming eventually. But that said, I was very fascinated with the fact that you chose to go and attend the trial. And I'm just like I think it's so cool, like just for like a historical record that you know, gave your updates and put it out there, because I think we have a lot of revisionist history in this space. And I think that's really cool that you did that. And it being someone that from inside, you know, not a normie,
Yeah.
giving perspective.
Yeah, no, and it was interesting. And I was, and what randomly, what was sort of funny, one of the videos I was doing, Robert De Niro walked in my background.
Who is he there?
So he was there for a countersuit. He was being sued. He had sued one of his employees, and they were suing him back.
I know you did. Wait. What is it? You started it. You started it.
What'd I start?
No, I mean like when somebody countersuits.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah, no, and but it was like weird because like she like used his personal like airline miles and stuff, and like took like his property home to use and stuff. And I like, and then she tried to say like it was like she did it because he made her scratch his back.
Well, I mean, I think that's a fair trade. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. Just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know on these things. So it's just an interesting piece all the way around. But yeah.
So what was it like being there though? Just
it was really interesting, and I got like, you know, sort of became friends with all the other reporters and stuff like that. And like answered just a lot of questions, you know, like about different things. But for a lot of them, it was like they were just looking at it as, you know, another banker type of situation going afoul. And so, and it just happened to be in blockchain, which I think was nice for a lot of it. But then, you know, what they sort of brought out was like, you know, the fact that it was crypto. So there was a lot of misinformation on a lot of things. And that was a really annoying fact. But then I got to learn a lot of like the little weird things that they use to tie everything together to try to explain things to people. And it was wrong, but like you could just sort of see where their thought process was. The like I've talked about it a few times, the prosecution's financial expert, Dr. Easton, he's only been on one other crypto case, and it was the SEC versus Ripple. So he was the financial analyst penetrationist for the SEC. And I can understand now why like John Deaton and like the Ripple attorneys were able to like tear him apart, you know, because like he followed money sort of well, you know, but then like he like halfway through doing things like he wouldn't check balances before, only after, you know. So like if you're moving money from account A to account B, he was just assuming account B was at zero rather than like, you know, it already having money in there. But one of the funniest things was when he was talking about BNB and BUSD, and he called BUSD Bitcoin stable dollar. That was one of the most interesting aspects for me. It's the dumbest thing, but it was so funny. But I think one of the hard pieces was the night that he like with how quickly the jury came back, you know, and how much the energy in the courtroom changed after closings. You know, so like the court was sort of all solemn up until that part, and the first day after closing arguments, like the energy just sort of like everyone went from like quiet whispers, you know, during breaks to like just loud conversations that then they got louder because other people were louder, and like the energy sort of shifted. It was really weird in that. But then sort of after the jury gave the verdict and Kaplan, you know, passed judgment of guilty to Sam, you know, his parents were right there, and then just sort of watching how everyone like poised like vultures around the family, just sort of waiting for anything to write down, was just really weird in a way. And you know, so I stayed back during that, but I actually sort of got into conversation pieces here and there with Sam's parents. And so like when after Sam got brought out and everyone was exiting and stuff like that, Joe and Barb saw me and stuff, and like, you know, he, you know, grabbed my hand, you know, on the way out, you know, and just sort of, you could just sort of see the pain in their face, and that sort of sucked. But yeah, it was interesting. So, and how shady everyone was that freaking turned on Sam. That was sort of hilarious too. Uh-oh. Did we lose you? Nah, I think we lost you. No. Oh, requested answered. There we go. I think that got it.
Yeah, sorry, I fell down a minute ago. It was good info, and it kept me from interrupting with more questions. Yeah, I think something, this is going to be maybe controversial. I think one thing about white collar crimes of this nature is that it brings that where people are going to like he's going to be going to prison for likely a very long time. It's going to bring more attention to like the inequities of places like that and like the length of sentences.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like people talked about whether or not he should be released on bail or not, and you know he did end up going back to jail to await trial because of alleged tampering. But the thing is that every day people who can't afford $1,000 or $3,000 bail are in jail awaiting their trial or settlement, or sorry, not settlement, but plea,
sentencing,
whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And they are disadvantaged in preparation for their cases because they're in jail, because they don't have access to the passwords or the computers or the documents or the things that they would easily be able to access outside. They're sending messengers out to like try and navigate, and it just is so much harder. So when someone who is in a position of privilege or power experiences what everyday people do, it brings, I think, a different type of attention to the issue. Like bail exists to ensure that you show up for trial, right?
Yeah.
So we have the constitutional, you have, you're innocent until proven guilty, but many people are unable to afford their bail or whatever. And if they're not a risk to the public or a slight risk, they really should not be detained pending trial. They should be allowed to assist in their own defense, and that's the best that happens outside of jail. And so I think I don't know. I hope that it actually brings more attention to he's supposedly this altruistic whatever. Yes, he did commit crimes, but he's also somebody's kid, and he hurt a lot of people, and I understand that. But I also think that like that ridiculously long sentencing guidelines, and not for him necessarily, but for everyone else in the system that goes through or encounters the system, I think could use someone who's in a position of power to like put a spotlight on it, if you will.
Yeah.
And hopefully, because I don't think that anybody should be like, anyway, I have a lot of thoughts on it, but that's totally not about Clopper NFT. So if you want to start on that update, I could get off my soapbox.
No, it's not a soapbox, it's an opinion. And it's not even like a fringe opinion, you know. You look at the psychological value of someone that even if someone is in custody, but if they have someone, you know, and family on the outside that can provide them with a suit or clothes versus just wearing, you know, prison standard, you know, just what it does psychologically on a jury, you know, let alone being in or being out and assisting with one's defense, like you said. And you know, sometimes, you know, with some bonds, they literally just put them up for sensational numbers, you know. You know, if they're not like a hardened criminal, you know, with like a history, but like they're a public facing figure, like, you know, not saying that they haven't ran off, but like they do that for sensationalism, I think, in my opinion. And
typically, well, in a lot of times they'll use there's a calculation
yeah,
for that kind of stuff, like the number of like previous, you know, problems within, or like, you know.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, but I agree that, like, well, I just think that it is a little arbitrary sometimes. Also, can be used to send a message, like people with a great amount of resources do have the opportunity with those resources to flee a jurisdiction, and so
yeah,
but and then there's also, like, you know, the seriousness of the crime, which makes sense to have a higher one the more serious it is, because, well, I don't know. I'm losing it now, but it's very good to talk to you, and I'm going to listen back to some of the other Daily Bites when I have a bit, because I was not able to follow most of the trial in real time.
Yeah, no, we did both lunch breaks and right after dinner streams. So, and then I'm going to spend the next couple weeks sort of, you know, I took up 4 notebooks of writing, you know, from sitting in the courtroom with that, you know, and that was, you know, because like at times I'd have to be out there at midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning to be able to get into the courtroom because it was just sort of crazy. But yeah, no. I think the only thing, though, the biggest thing that came out of that is it showed that if you can point a finger faster, it doesn't matter how much more nefarious you are, you can get off. And that's the sad thing on it. So, yeah. We'll see what happens to Nishad and Caroline and Gary Wong. But you know, chief legal counsel got off. And you know, I don't even know what Adam Yedidia's role was, but he got off. Or he got off with immunity, and Cam Sun got off with, you know, non-prosecution agreement. So,
you know, I think there's something to be said, though, for the swiftness of that, and that's, you know, good for the blockchain industry, if you will, and that, like, think about Bernie Madoff and his crimes.
Yeah.
Like, he told his sons,
yeah,
when he couldn't continue to make the payments to his investors because the market crashed. He told his 2 sons, who then went to the authorities, and he was like turned himself in, I think, on November 11th of that year that happened. And then he pled guilty, so there was no huge like trial and tracing the money and all those things here, you know. And he did it probably since the 60s. Like, he was probably part of his scheme was going on since the 60s. So you have a guy who found or who was running this company since 2019. It's been 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
5 years. And
3 years of because
it stops the bleeding, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it does because we have it on chain, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah. But what was like a lot of it was taken off chain, and then it was all followed into, so his sentencing is set for March 29th, and his second trial, the one that has to do with both securities and political charges, is in March as well. So that'll be where the interesting piece comes in, I think, again as well. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, no, sidelined, and it's always good to sideline, so, and it's always good to see you. So I see you in Pengu space in the morning times as well. So it's sort of it's always a fun space there. So yeah. But any other questions before we hop into Clopper? No. All right. We're gonna hop into Clopper. We've been building on Clopper for since April of last year. And it's been going on in the background and everything like that. Anton has taken over with the team building out on our idea and building out on-chain ownership of NFTs, owning NFTs. And what we've done with it is creating, and also writing a new EIP standard. And so what that has really caused us to do is really focus on building to mint rather than minting to build, meaning we wanted to have it up and running first before we minted. And so we've worked on partnerships with Ledger, with Delegate Cash or Delegate Wallet and Warm Wallet, so that you don't have to necessarily, you can benefit from the NFTs you own without putting them at risk. And then talking more about as assets become more valuable, because owning assets, raises the value of them. Talking about the safety aspect, but then still being able to be part of Web3 and benefit from it. And so as we go through Clopper, we launched on testnet. We're gonna showcase what you're able to do. And as always, I really want people to be mindful of where they're at and where they're following. Starting off at Twitter can always be a really good and easy spot for that. And as well as our Discord. If you go to our main website, one of the things, if you're entering the Clopper house, we might have a secret little entrance that will get you in. And as you can see, what we all have is our burn for value piece. One of the things that we sort of talk about is the potion tech. And right now what we're doing are token bound story NFTs. And the reason why is so your NFT will own another NFT, and that first one is that story. And that's the reason we're doing it this way, is part of the proof of concept for the EIP standard to be able to get voted on and get approved. And so we'll talk more about that, but really I wanted to showcase really what the quickest way to sort of go through this is. One of the things that you do have to have first is Sepolia ETH. And one of the easiest ways to get Sepolia ETH is literally just Googling it. You can Google Sepolia faucet, and the first one that usually comes up right here, you can either get it from Alchemex or the Sepolia POW faucet. This is a really good faucet that we really like to use, and we showcase this one a lot because you're able to just do so much with it. If you have a lot of processing power, you can get a little bit more Sepolia faster, but it is free for you to use. And so as we're on testnet, we wanted to do two things. You might not have any NFTs on Sepolia, so we actually made it so that you could have NFTs, and that way that NFT can drink the bottle. And so what we do here is we'll showcase what you have to do, which is, first, you can mint a Clopper bottle, and you'll see how easy that is. Once we connect, you can see how much, with gas and everything like that, what we're doing is making it really cheap for minting a bottle. And then at the same time, you can mint a testnet NFT. And we wanted to do just not have like some, something bad with it, but we wanted to make a little fun with it. So we put effort into the testnet NFTs as well. And so you'll be able to see what that looks like. Once you have your bottles, one of the things that you have to remember to do is you have to have your bottles staked. And so you'll see all of your different bottles, and what you'll see here is you'll see two symbols. You'll see full of liquid and staked with that green lightning bolt. And if it is not, that's when you can stake it. And what we'll show here is you'll get every bottle, every time it is drank, its value goes up a little bit. And remember, these bottles are immutable, so they never break. You can always fill them again. But once we go mainnet, we go live, Story Potion, like any good vintage, will eventually reduce in supply. So you might want to hold on to it, or you might want to grab a few extra bottles and fill them up so that when Story Potion is gone, you could sell the bottle, a full bottle, if someone else needs a Story Potion, or if you want to continue your story even more, or you never know what it might be needed for later on. What we're actually also doing is we're trying to work on some stickiness with our community, giving you reason to come back, because you might not always be able to drink, but we want you to come back and still find value in it. We're doing a daily, weekly, and monthly claim section. We're doing it a little bit faster on testnet. So it's about every other day that you can go through all three, and you can get those extra XP points that will level up your bottle. And as you'll see what that does as it goes off. Initially, it's a bronze shot, and from there, it moves up slowly but slowly. And you can see one of the really cool things that we did was we set aside the different corks, different characters, different NFT projects, different IP. And so what we really wanted to build out within the storyline of the Clopper bottle was there being more IP and individual IP for you based off of your NFTs. So your NFTs you own creating their own IP as well, and that IP is yours. It might not, you might be using an NFT that has CC0 or doesn't have IP rights technically, but we've worked with IP lawyers and have all of it set out to where this IP, these stories are truly yours to be used in any way, shape, or form. And so that's what we really are hoping to see. And so one of the things that you'll see with like some of the different bottles, we have our cool cats, we have Beeple, we have some other fun things here. But as you can see, the more it's used to drink, the more it gets up there. And one of the things we can show off here is what these look like on testnet OpenSea. And as you can see here, we have our little Beeple cork. And you'll see that in the cork section of traits and stuff like that. So it makes it sort of its own little individual piece as well. You'll find out some other really cool things within that as that goes along. So once you have your bottle and you have your bottle staked, what you're going to do is you're going to have to drink the potion. Anytime you go to a bar, you're going to have to drink, right? And so what you'll see here is you'll see some of the NFTs that we've made that you'll be able to claim and get your bottle piece too. And so here we are, we're picking a zero chill and we're clicking on our Beeple because we've been working to build the Beeple up, and we combine the two. So basically our NFT goes to the bar, drinks the potion. And so the NFT that mints from that And as you can see here, we have a whole little process for it going through. We wanted to animate it as much as possible so that there's a little bit of piece to it. So you can go back to the bar, or you can read your story piece. And so you'll see what this is like. And so as the story progresses, we'll reveal a page. And so we've signed off on our stories from the stories that we minted the other day. And that was the other piece to have it come back. So we got new pages now. Let's see what we got here. So we got a sailor's tale, actually. Okay, let's read this story. I haven't read this yet. So now you can see where it has a license, our plagiarism report. All right. Nice. So my new story, and what we've done is we partnered with OpenAI. We have 2 OpenAI ambassadors, as well as a Hollywood script writer to help polish these out and make all of the work on this so much. So it's really cool stuff that's coming out of this. We're gonna sort of, where is this? I am such an old man that I can't read that very well. I stood by the fireplace looking out, the tavern window at the rain that fell outside. The tavern and nearby lighthouse were the only structures for miles on this rocky coastline. That didn't stop us local fishermen and sailors from populating the pub, huddled around tables in the dead of night in front of a roaring fire, swapping stories, or more accurately, tall tales. A shudder went through me as the door swung open and he walked in with a spray of sea mist. He was covered in tattoos and wore an eye patch. But the most remarkable thing about him was that he was dressed in nothing more than heart-covered boxer shorts and a pair of galoshes. Despite this, he looked like he had just been through a war. I love AI so much. When everyone stopped and looked at him in silence, he spit and demanded whiskey. As he sat by the fireplace, now clothed and with whiskey firmly in hand, everyone huddled around, waiting for his story. The stranger looked like he desperately wanted to tell it. Somehow we all just knew it had to be a doozy. He said, "My name is Galen, first mate of the Mary Jane. It capsized 10 miles out less than 12 hours ago, and I'm its only survivor." A chill ran down my spine as I asked, "Survivor of what? The 100-year storm? That's a myth." "Is it now?" Galen took a long sip and told us a much unbelievable tale, which I will now recount as best I can. Oh man, we got a good story here. And so that is our first page of our story. We're going to have to come back, as you know, to claim our next set of story pieces. And so this is a very interesting piece that we've built out here. I really hope that you find a lot of joy in it, because what it can do is lay out a really cool plan of just sort of showcasing what ownership of NFTs, ownership of IP can be like. And so with that easy little piece there, what I want to showcase to you here is how you can then take your bottle back to the bar, and from home you can get XP. So see, now that our Beeple bottle is empty, we can refill that bottle. As you can see, we have a secret potion coming up, but our story potion, and we'll refill that. And we'll get that going. And so from there, that is where we get our refill. And as you'll see, we'll soon have that refill animation. There we go. And that is how you use the Clopper bottle. That is how you mint one. And that is what the first page of a story is. So I really want to thank everyone for joining us. You know, we talked about SBF. We got to talk about Clopper. And we got to sort of walk you through what that looked like. We have want to sort of showcase more about what Clopper's building out more and more over the next couple days. We're going to be on the road a little bit. We're going to be doing some cool stuff with Demo later this week as well. And we hope that everyone has a great, wonderful time. I want to thank everyone for joining us. And this has been another episode of TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen. Once again, here is where you can go check out Clopper. And this is where you can get your own Clopper bottle on testnet. And this is where you'll be able to get your own NFT as well and start your story. Remember, you need Sepolia ETH, testnet ETH, and you can use it from the Sepolia faucet or Alchemix faucet. And we just want to thank you for joining us. One of these things that you'll sort of see as you follow the story along, you'll have a full dashboard that leads you all, lets you know where everything is, and revealing pages, what that looks like, and what everything here, you know, sort of lets you do. So we have a lot of fun coming up, and we hope that you're able to join us as well as we mint more stories and have a little bit more fun with everything. So we will see you on the flip side, and until next time, our words of wisdom are always the same. There we go. Our words of wisdom are always the same, and the same with our knock-knock joke, the best, worst knock-knock joke. But our words of wisdom are: a closed mouth cannot be fed, and you cannot feed a closed mouth, meaning if no one knows you're looking for opportunity, opportunity can never come a knocking. If opportunity does come knocking and no one answers, it's going to keep on walking. And with that, huge shout out to and love to Liam. And we end with the greatest, worst knock-knock joke on the face of the planet. And that is, knock, knock, who's there?